the one tip I use that you use to not panic about the market over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I want to share this with you guys. At the end of every Friday, get you a notebook, old school, or you can do it in Google Docs. But literally write if the market ended up for the week or ended down. So when everyone was panicking last week, and this is the thing that I love about memories and going through my notebook, the same headlines and fears that people had about last week was the same headline from the year prior. So they're stoking all of this energy. And when you understand what the cycles are in the market and when the funds are actually buying, the funds really buy really heavy in March, really. Um, and we talked about that before, I think, on episode 23 of Market Mondays, right? Um, but every February, there is a lull when the market slows down and we have these deep dips. And then midweek, I told you we was going to fall Tuesday and Wednesdays. Those are your ideal times to buy. And then we ended up the week strong because Monday and Fridays are the heaviest buying days. Also, if you buy at the end of the day, you'll be able to get higher alpha on your portfolio than if you buy at the beginning of the day. So literally the tip is I want you to every Friday, write if the week ended up positive for the week or negative. And when you flip back year by year, you'll be able to see, okay, March, it typically does this, February does this, and you can know week by week what to expect out of the market for the overall S&P 500. In that way, you won't have to panic.
Yeah,
That's a fact. That's
there
a
you go.
fact.
There you go.
I actually did that.
Anything you want to say about that? Or?
Oh no, I was gonna say I actually did that. Because we saw that there was earnings last week, and that was one of those things, man. When you see the market trending in a downward, it on the other side, it's like, wait, there's so many opportunities that you got to be disciplined to say, all right,
Yeah,
I know this is a good opportunity, but I was focused over here. And so, like, what I was just doing last week was just trying to block out that noise of saying, like, there's so many opportunities, but which ones were I focused in on? What did I write down in December and said, like, yo, this is going to be my targets for 2022? And so Google was one of those targets. And I was just like, you know what? This is going to be a great time. I seen a great pullback. I knew that they were going to be reporting earnings. I went to estimize.com just to see what the projections that Wall Street was saying for their earnings. And at 3:30, I believe Wednesday, I was like, all right, I'm going to invest right now. Boom, did it. Obviously, we saw what happened. They destroyed their earnings and the stock went up, but they also announced a 21 split at the same time. And
Amazon.
So I'm going to get there. I'm getting there.
Amazon announced a split, not Google.
No, Google announced.
No, Google announced a split.
No, Amazon didn't.
Google,
Yeah,
right.
Google 20 to 1.
21.
So
Yeah.
people always, and so like I know there's a lot of new people here. So just going over what a split is, right? I always tell people like this, right? If I gave you 5 singles, or if I gave you a $5 bill, do you have the same amount of money? And most people will say yes. And I'm like, well, technically that's what a split is, right? There was one that was 5 and now you have 5 singles. And so if you had 1 share of Google after July or after August, that 1 share is now turned into 20. But what happens is that the stock price gets cut down by a 20th, right? So you divide whatever it is by 20. I think it's over 3,000. So we're bringing down to like maybe
like,
around
20, it's 2,700 range, like almost 2,800.
Yeah. So each share probably be in that 120 to 135 range.
Still,
It's a steal at that price, right? As opposed to when I'm looking at it as a retail investor now, I'm like, listen, it's 2,700, it's 2,800. That's not affordable for me right now. I have to buy a fractional share. Now you don't have to, right? In July or August, whenever the split goes through, now you can buy a share at $127. So it becomes even more of an incentive to say, all right, this is Google, right? We know what they're doing with YouTube, right? The number, Ian, this is like breaking news alert. Number 2 in advertising in 2021. You know who number 1 was? Who passed them? Amazon. Amazon did 31 billion in the advertising business. Google did about 29. So that was like crazy stat that I saw. But now it's an incentive to buy it. People are going to load in and buy shares, and because it makes sense, right? We know the strength of this company. We know the long-term vision of it. We spoke about YouTube plenty of times. So
yeah, let's talk about
got into that.
Amazon. I said Amazon because Amazon was on my mind. I want to talk about Amazon, but Google. Let's not just breeze over this because this is the first time that we've actually got to speak about the stock split. I think it was announced last Wednesday. Or
right after they close.
So, all right, the stock split situation is interesting for a few different reasons. Google, a lot of people, once a stock gets to a certain point, it becomes unattractive for retail investors. Psychologically, people look at something like, damn, I got to pay $2,000 for just 1 share.
But they're about a Chanel bag. Or Gucci. Shout out! If I see you at the network party with Gucci or Louis on, don't want to hear it, but Rashad's about to make a good point. Back to you, my
brother. so yeah, they so you know, by lowering it to now $100, Apple has split a lot of different times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Google. So this is why I was bringing up the Amazon thing. So now Amazon is the last big tech company that has not split, that has a stock price, you know, up there, over $3,000.
Yep.
So now there's no concrete evidence of this, but there's speculation that Amazon may split.
Yep.
Which that kind of drove Amazon stock price up as well.
Yeah.
Amazon was your company of the year.
Yes, still is.
So Google, how do you think Google's stock split will affect, if it will have any effect at all, on Amazon's stock price?
Yeah, I think if we look at just the past history, the past 2 years of the companies that have split, we can just get a fair indication, right? A lot of retail investors have entered the market since March 2020. We saw it happen with Apple.
Mm-hmm.
Price ran up, right? As soon as it split, we saw a pullback.
Tesla,
they both did it at the same time, right? And then we also saw it with Nvidia. And so
Google stock will rise.
This is true.
Oh, it's going to the moon.
no.
It's going to be what y'all thought Doge was.
yeah. So this is true, which is why, like, when I made the investment, I'm like, oh, this is perfect time. And then when I heard the split, I'm like, yo, this. I mean, I couldn't have had better time than this, right? There's no way to time it, but, you know, just focusing in and knowing that, look, in 2021, this was the leader in all the FANG stocks. Like, they had an incredible year in growth, right? And so I'm
Amazon or Google?
Google did.
Amazon.
Google, yeah. Amazon had the worst. Why you keep rubbing it in, man?
I get confused with the two, man. They
I'm not, man. My portfolio is not confused.
Yeah, I mean, with Amazon, the split, I think Google is going to put a little bit of pressure on, because, like you said, it's Amazon, the last of a dying breed to have a price so high. Amazon's been in the retirement picks of stock club forever.
Yeah.
So when everyone's like, yo, I don't know, I'm like, hold on, because now when they split, you're going to have even more shares. Some of you are going to ask, should I buy before or after? Answer is always both. It's a top 5 company. Great. And from a distribution standpoint, stickiness standpoint, like, Amazon's one of the greatest companies ever. Google probably has the best ad business ever. The two behemoths. And when we did the safest stocks maybe 5 or 6 months ago, Google was already in there. So you'll be good. Hold these 2, 4, or 5 years. You guys will be good.
Yeah. Think about last week what happened. Like, literally, Google reported Tuesday, market went up. Facebook reported Wednesday, market tanked.
Down.
Thursday, Amazon reported, blew out their earnings. Like I said, the growth in the revenue, obviously AWS grew. They made $11 billion off the Rivian investment on the, like, quietly.
I'll be real. AWS is probably homework for you guys. What is the value of AWS and what is the market cap of Facebook right now? Be surprised. If you had to pick AWS, if it was publicly traded, would you pick that or Facebook? This is the real versus, right? Apple or Facebook, Google or Facebook, AMD or Facebook, Amazon or Facebook, but it's supposed to be top 5 dead or alive. It's just dead.
Yeah.
So I know
my graduates from my school being Forbes, bag drop,
a mic drop,
bag drop.